Yeah. What's poppin', baby? It's the heavy hitter, Ciroc boy, bad boy, all pro representing from BT 106 in Park, aka too many AKAs to say right now. DJ Prostyle, it's going down right now. This is the 561.com. Keep it locked. Make sure you hit up this website, real heavy. This is where I go. This is where you need to go. All right.
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Serge from the 561.com here with the infamous DJ Prostyle, heavy hitter, Ciroc boy, bad boy. He's everything.
The list goes on and on.
He's your favorite DJ's favorite DJ.
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? So what up, Prostyle, man?
What's up, family? Good?
Good, man. Good. Well, basically, I'm going to do this interview kind of like for upcoming DJs.
Okay.
They want to know a little bit about you, a little advice that you could give them and all that. So what made you want to become a DJ? I know that's the cliche question for every DJ.
Cliche? Let's see. I mean, I grew up around music. You know what I'm saying? My family. My father actually had some DJ equipment when I was young. So when I was like 10, I said like 9 or 10 years old, we had DJ equipment in the house. Even though I didn't use it, we had mad records and all that. So I grew up looking at all the records and stuff and thought it was cool. Then when we left New York around when I was like 12, I want to say, I went to Orlando, moved to Orlando. And when I was 12, my sister was turning 16. And she threw a big Sweet 16 party in my house. So she had mad people over, blah, blah, blah. But one of the things that I thought was cool was she had a DJ in the house. So I seen the DJ playing all the music, everything that was out. Everybody was partying. It was like just one big party. It was a real good look. And I thought it was real cool because the DJ was, you know, he wasn't like going in like, you know, nowadays, you know, I see what DJs do nowadays, but he was just playing music and I thought it was cool. And, you know, I got to actually sit there and watch him. And at the end of the night when the party's all said and done, he left the equipment there. And I remember he came up to me and said, look, you could play with the equipment if you want. Just don't break this and watch out for this. He showed me where the needles were. He's like, yo, be careful with the needles, blah, blah, blah. He's like, but if you want to play a record, he actually showed me, you know, you put the record on like this. He showed me where on the mixer I could listen to it. And he showed me, you know, a little bit about, there was 2 DJs there. He showed me about, you know, the fader and blah, blah, blah. And basically how to play music. So when they left, I stood up all night playing with the turntables and music. I think till like the sun came up the next day. And from that moment, I was just like, man, this is fun. This is something I want to do. And I got into it, you know, begged my parents when I was young, because, you know, I'm only like 12 at the time. Yo, give me a turntable, blah, blah, blah. We went to a pawn shop, and after we went to a pawn shop, I bought 1 turntable and 1 mixer from a pawn shop. You know, this was back when they were belt-driven. And
can't even do the backs for that.
Yeah, you can't, you know, as soon as you put your finger down, it would just stop. Then it was, you know, the record would take off slow. You know, but, you know, who cares? I had a turntable, so I was happy. But that's how I became, you know, that's how I got into DJing, before I keep going on with the whole story.
Okay. So were you always DJ Prostyle? Did you have another name? A couple of names?
I went through probably like 3 or 4.
What was your first, like...
I think DJ Skills was actually the first name that I really ran with. When I really started getting into DJing. And I ran with that one until I found out there was like another DJ Skills somewhere else. Because that's one thing I always was on. Like, I wanted to always be separated. You know, I didn't want to copy nobody else. You know what I'm saying?
So the name Prostyle came about?
It's a crazy story, but basically, when I was in high school, you know, I wasn't the best of students, you know what I'm saying? So I got expelled, and I actually got put into this like little juvenile kind of program. But what was cool about it, which is nothing cool about going into a juvenile program, you know what I'm saying? Stay in school. But what was cool about it was it was a program where like all the bad kids, you could say, obviously were going into at that time in Orlando. And this was when I was like, I don't know. I mean, I was in high school at this time. But before I even tell you how I got my DJ name, just to show you, I started DJing when I was in middle school. I DJ'd my middle school party. So whatever age that was, 13 or 14.
Right.
Graduating from middle school into high school, going from 8th to 9th grade, I actually DJ'd that party. So that puts perspective. I didn't have a DJ name at that time. You know what I'm saying? But so when I got into school, I think I was like 10th grade, I want to say 11th grade, whatever grade it was that happened. I had a lot of time on my hands because there was no teachers or nothing. It was one of those trial programs where kids try to learn off the computer and blah blah blah. But so it seemed like all the cool kids were there at the time, because you know what I'm saying. You know, you talk about all the bad kids are the cool kids at the time. So I kind of knew that's how I met everybody from all the different parts of the city. Because everybody, you know, when you go to high school, you really only go to high school with the kids in your neighborhood. So the school I went to, I think it was a program, it was all the kids in Orlando who were getting expelled from different schools, all in that one school. So the good thing about it is I met everybody, and I think that's how I kind of really built up a following there because I ended up being cool and putting out mixtapes with everybody. But back to my name, I just sat there and started writing down all the names that were hot at the time. You know, Stilo was hot, or Style, or this or that. And one thing I always based DJing on, and everything I do up to this day still, is to really try to be professional at everything I do. And when I say that, like, even when I would do a mixtape, and this is back before there was the technology of editing and stuff. You know, you put a mixtape, you know, actual cassette into recorder. You press record, and that's it. It's go. You know, once you press record, there's no stopping, there's no editing. You do one 45-minute side, you flip it over 30 minutes, depending on, and then you do the other side. So I was the type though who could get to like the 29th minute right before it's gonna end, and if I messed up or if I felt I did a blind or something that wasn't good, I would stop and do the whole thing over. Wow. And I had a sister who was really on my ass about it. You know, like, my sister was older and she was hip. She was like the cool girl. So I learned a lot from her too. Like, if I scratched too much, or if I talked too much, or if I did something too much, she would hate it because she'd be like, nobody wants to hear that. You're killing the song. You're doing this. So I was always, you know, like, you hear DJs who do too much, like that, like on the radio, blah blah blah. I always keep my sister's, you know, voice in my head, like, don't do that. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear this. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So I took professional, ended up adding it with style. Obviously, it couldn't be professional style. I cut it down to pro. Then I started asking all the kids in the room, like, yo, have you ever heard of this? How you think it sounds? Everybody was like, yo, I agree. It sounds different. It sounds cool. You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. And I kind of just ran with that. And then once I started doing more parties and ended up building that name up, it's kind of like once you build that name up, you can't change it. You know what I'm saying?
All right. There you go. That's Prostyle.
You know? That's
professional at his style.
Professional style.
Now, do you remember the first club you were booked in? You don't have to say the name, but do you remember the night? Like,
first club? No, I don't know the name of the club, but I do remember the first actual real club. You know, like, it was downtown, so I was already excited the fact it was downtown. I was obviously way too young to even get in this club at the time, so the fact that I was DJing it was my only way in. And it was my first opportunity to be in a club with a real DJ booth with lights and sound, because I did a million house parties, garage parties, you know, like I said, middle school parties and all that kind of stuff, little halls and stuff like that. I mean, we used to rent out like little halls and places, and do my own, you know, rent the sound system and do all that kind of stuff. But this was the actual first club. It was downtown. It had the lights, the bars. So I don't remember the name of it, but it was my first one. Definitely exciting.
Do you remember your worst night? I know every DJ has their worst night where they play a record and it's like Moses done Split the Sea. When it's just like
that, I can't. We all have our bad nights, our rough nights. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a night where they could do better. Could always do better. But I can't think of one off the door that just pops out like that. I've had bad nights where, let's say, the equipment crashes or
somebody spills their drink.
Yeah, like, you know, I mean, I've been DJing way before Serato and all this kind of stuff came out. So, I mean, I've definitely been in clubs where I've been in clubs where, like, the hottest record at the time, let's say I scratched the record. So when I go to play it, it would skip. There was nothing you could do about it. Like, once that record was scratched and it was skipping, you know, I did find out ways to try to fix. You know, I used to know how to kind of fix scratches in records, you know, which this is the first time I'm actually thinking about that. But I do remember those days where you scratch a record and I kind of knew how to fix it to try to get that tone back. But those would say, you know, those would be bad days.
Well, heavy hitters. Mm-hmm. How did that come apart?
Heavy hitters. That's my team. I hooked up with just different people in the industry from being on radio throughout the years back in the days. And I met a young lady, her name is Yvette, who was running with the Heavy Hitters at the time. You know, the Heavy Hitters had just been formed. They were kind of doing their thing in New York at the time. They were starting to blow up. And she was like, she met me in Florida actually doing Spring Bling. It was the first year. It was funny, it's like the first year I got down with BET and Spring Bling is the same year I got down with Heavy Hitters. And she introduced me. I went out there and DJ Nuff was actually DJing an event in Spring Bling. And I went up to him and I got introduced. And she was like, yo, this is my man. I was already doing my thing and you know, I was already a big name in Orlando at the time. She was like, this is my man Prostyle. He runs Orlando. He's Latino. You know, he's an animal at what he does. And I met him and I was like, yo, what's up? He's like, yo, so I hear you an animal. I was like, you know, yeah, I try to get it in. You know, I was a little rowdy, so I was like, yeah, you know, whatever. And he was like, yo, let's talk. So later on that day I met him, we talked. He's like, look, for you to be a heavy hitter, you know, to be part of this crew, you just have to be, like I said, like an animal. You have to be somebody who rocks the parties, rocks the radio, mixtapes, just goes all out, and, you know, who just basically tries to dominate in everything he does. And I was like, yo, that's me. You know what I'm saying? So
Because we know you did parties in Orlando too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy parties.
It started with parties. I mean, I became the king of parties out there before I got on radio. You know, I had a bad reputation with the radio station because our parties would crush their parties, but our parties were the rowdy party. Like I said, I built up my name through the streets, through the bad, the bad kids, you could say. So all my parties would end up with some chaotic shit happening. But those were all the bad, those were all the hot parties to go to. But so all the workers who would work at the radio station would go to my parties, and they were like, "Yo, he's the shit. His parties are popping." But the radio station, when they did this big thing out there on the radio station where they were looking for DJs to put on, and when they first brought my name to them, they told me, like, the girls who worked there, they brought my name to them, like, you need to put Prostyle on, da-da-da. They were like, no, he has a bad reputation. We're not trying to bring that kind of person over here to the station. We don't want that kind of crowd. You know what I'm saying? Or that kind of he's gonna be a problem. We want somebody who's not gonna come in here and steal the equipment or something like that. So, at the end of the day, what happened is they just had to give me a chance. So they gave me a chance, and they had a bunch of other cats, and it all worked out. You know what I'm saying? And from there, I just took off with the radio, and that was that.
Yeah, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing in disguise. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What about Mr. Combs?
Puff?
Diddy.
That's a good move. My man Diddy. I met Diddy throughout the years. When you're in this industry, I was just talking with somebody else the other day. I've just been in the industry so long, like over, not to age myself, but for a long time, probably 10 to, 15 years, somewhere in between that bracket. I've been in the industry, meaning on a radio station that's a BDS station. For those who don't know, that's a station that matters. Meaning, not that other radio stations don't matter. Like, at this point, every station matters, whether it's internet, whether it's whatever. But back then, record labels really only cared about BDS stations, because BDS means, the broadcasting detection, whatever, service, something like that.
An important station.
Yeah, basically, when you play a record, the record label knows you played it, and that's how record labels would know what stations and what cities are playing what music. That's how you know where you're gonna sell records. That's how you know where you're not gonna sell records. That's how you know where you want to focus on. So, with that being said, I met everybody in the industry, and Puff was one person I met. When they first came out with Bad Boy, I remember they flew me down to a Bad Boy party thing where they flew a bunch of DJs. I met Craig Mack. I got to DJ a Biggie party, which RP Biggie, which is a great blessing. I DJ'd the Biggie party, Craig Mack party, so I got to meet all of them, and I've just been in it that long. So Puff knows me for that long.
So that relationship.
So I mean, that was not a relationship at that point, but I could go back to that far with him. You know what I'm saying? Which is always a good thing. So, and then I just been doing my thing. But Puff, Puff is the kind of person who just, Puff's a real cool dude. You know what I'm saying? And if he sees you grinding out there and really doing your thing, then he'll have respect for you. He's not gonna respect somebody who thinks that they just want it to come easy or whatever the case is, because he's not like that himself. The man,
he's a hard working dude.
Believe me, I don't know what goes behind it. Your man is a 24/7 mogul. You know what I'm saying? He just works on so many different things that are always on a regular. So I just hooked up with them, and I just stayed grinding. And when I went to New York, I blew up there. Then I went back to Orlando. I blew up on the radio there. Then I went back to New York recently. And when I went back to New York recently, it was just like, he's a new kid out here again on Power now, which obviously is a big station in New York. You know what I'm saying? And so it becomes real valuable now. Now I'm on a real valuable station to everybody in the industry. So with that being in mind, I started meeting Puff more, and then went down to a couple parties. I DJ'd a bunch of his parties, Super Bowl parties a couple years ago. I think that's where it really went down. He knows a lot of people's names. Like, he straight told me himself, like, I've heard about you, I've heard your name, but I didn't know if you could really rock the party or not. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right. So I went and DJ'd his Super Bowl party, and destroyed it. So at the end of the night, he was like, yo, you really that kid. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, I understand now. So then we started talking about different things, and his peoples were like, yo, we were talking with Puff, and your name came up, and we were really talking about maybe managing you. We've never managed a DJ, but we look at you as a type who we could. And I met with him, and they just agreed that, with me now on TV with 106 and Park, and having the black urban side. I've been on TV now for 5 years, so I have that lane, and then being Latino, I have the Latin lane. I was on a Spanish station in New York for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? I built my relationship with all the reggaeton artists and all the Spanish artists and bachata artists and everything. So I built that lane, and the fact that I look white, I just fall into that lane too. You know what I'm saying? Just to be 100. So at the end of the day, I'm a real marketable kind of cat. You know what I'm saying? I could go either direction. You know what I'm saying? So with all that said, you know, and the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, none of that matters. It just matters that you can rock and you hold it down. And you're a hustler and you get it in. You know, so he built that respect for me. We had a couple conversations and we agreed that I'm going in a right direction and moving fast, but with him, you know, we're gonna take it to that next level.
So at the end of the day, Diddy cut the check.
Yeah, and it's not even about, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of people think it's like get with Diddy and cut the check. Now, if Diddy can't see that I can make him money, then he's not gonna mess with me. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if he's co-signing you, then you obviously have something to bring to the table.
Like if I'm making money now, the point is to make 3 or 4 times that kind of money when I start dealing with Diddy and get to that next level. You know what I'm saying?
And speaking of Diddy and being a mogul and all that, we understood back in the day, I guess you had an artist you were working with.
I have a bunch of artists that I was working with. Yeah, I have a record label and everything.
Is the record label still intact?
I still have a tax ID number. But the record label's still intact. Yeah, I'm still working with some artists. You know, I've kind of veered off from folks. It's a hard business, so anybody who owns a record label or anything or really wants to put music out would know that it's not as easy as just saying you got a record label, getting some artists, printing some CDs or whatever, putting it out. It doesn't work like that, especially this day and age. So I put a lot of money into different artists, and you know, it's just a hard thing. It's a hard thing to do. So I feel like right now with everything I got going on, you know, I'm just gonna focus on what I'm doing to take it to that level. And I feel like one day I'll be in that position where it'll be easy for me to take artists to the next level. But right now I need to take myself to that level. So I still got artists I'm working with. I'm putting songs together. I'm doing my own DJ album actually right now.
Oh, really?
I have a bunch of songs done with Diddy, with Fab, Red Cafe, Mano, Nori.
When can we look forward to hearing that?
I'm gonna leak actually a new record soon, man. So probably at the end of October, going into November, I'm gonna put out probably my first record, which will probably have. I already have Jim Jones, Styles P, Nori, and Mano on the record. It's a real tough New York record. It's a dope record, and I'm trying to get Diddy to redo the hook. So
and speaking of music, what's in Prostyle's CD, iPod, player?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm rocking my man Fab. Fab just dropped his new mixtape, There's No Competition Part 2. You know what I'm saying? So I'm rocking my man Fab. I just DJ'd all of Fab's parties in New York. I did his party uptown. I did his party just now in downtown, and I was supposed to do his party actually last night in Queens, but I ended up going to Miami. So.
No doubt. So what's in the future store for Prostyle? I mean, anything? I mean, I know you're putting out the album. Any other big ventures that we could look forward to?
I mean, I've always been the type who tries to get into other things other than DJing. I own a couple properties. You know what I'm saying? I own a couple of houses, and I've always tried to, you know, invest into different things. I took some losses with real estate, obviously, when it went down, but I've also...
Especially here in Florida.
Up in Florida, but I've also made a ton of money doing it. So, you know, you got to spend money to make money. It is what it is. You take chances. You either win or you lose some. But you're not going to win them all. Hopefully you won't lose them all. But with me, I'm doing a lot of corporate stuff. I've been connecting with a lot of big people in this industry via music or clothing line stuff, energy drink stuff, the Ciroc deal. So, I mean, look for me on More TV. We're talking with Puff now. With obviously with BT got first dibs on a lot of stuff, but we're also branching out to different networks to do some stuff, maybe some reality stuff with me, or even countdown shows or TV shows. And we're just doing a lot of stuff. I'm just there is no boundary. I feel like there's no roof of what you could do. I'm doing a lot of radio in New York on Power 105.1, so you know you could just see me anywhere doing anything.
True. So when they want to find out updates about you, where can they hit you up at?
Well, first you can follow me on Twitter. You know, I'm heavy on Twitter. You see how crazy every single day I'm doing a club. No nights off. I'm booked Monday through Monday. And so twitter.com/DJ Prostyle. I got djprostyle.com, which is up right now, but I got a whole new crazy website that's getting built. That's going to be crazy for members and all types of stuff you can buy. I'm gonna put mixes in and download for free. I'm gonna put exclusive stuff, videos, stuff. You know, I'm gonna put it there for DJs to just get all the new music for free, so they don't gotta deal with Because I hate when you have to track down this or fill something out. I'm just gonna start putting. I'm gonna make it.
Leak records.
I'm gonna leak records. I'm gonna put everything that's hot.
Word up.
Everything that's hot that maybe you can't get, you know, a clean version of because maybe you don't know that person or instrumental. Whatever. I'm gonna put all that stuff there. Plus other stuff. So DJProstyle.com and those are the two best routes I would say. You know what I'm saying, to find out everything that's going on. I'm not gonna start giving out email addresses.
His phone number is.
Yeah, I bought Jimmy. That's my manager. Give out his number. You know, but that's about it.
Well, Prostyle, appreciate all your time, man.
Definitely.
Thank you. We're gonna rock out tonight at Club Hush.
It's gonna be a problem. We're gonna see how we get it in.
Murdering the turntables. Prostyle.
Yep.
Bad boy.
Yep.
Ciroc boy.
Yep.
Heavy hitter.
Heavy hitter.